Happy Tuesday, Jasiri tribe. As you already know, that Tuesdays are bold, fearless, and full of fire. Fire, mutta. Mutta. But today is another, the fire is on another level. Why? Because our very own queen of charisma, brilliance, and pure Jasiri spirit is back. Yes, the one and only Tolulope Adeleru-Balogun. She's back!
Oh my God. Wait, I don't understand. What's this ankle that I'm seeing?
You know, she's going back to her northern roots. That she knows. I am the mother of Africa. So she's the one copying me.
Yeah, you explain it
like
better.
the color coordination. I walked in on you guys. I was like, what's going on? The guest lounge. I was like, who are these?
No, leave us out of this. We were in Nigeria, enjoying Nigerian breeze. So how was vacation? That you?
It was beautiful.
You nearly choked us.
But you didn't post that much.
Oh, but me on your status.
No, I didn't even need to post. I was sending things specifically to Lolo. Lolo was shouting, everything my life.
Lola, I know you were going to like this.
Absolutely.
Even as I was recording the video, I said to my sister, this one I'm sending to Lolo. I'm sending it to Lolo.
I know you would like this.
I just want to ask something. Did you feel like coming back? If you had the opportunity, would you stay?
If the orange man, and I could, no. As in, it's just, especially where my sister says, it's like in between DC and other places. So it's a mid-sized town, it's quiet, it's calm, but you can hop on the train and get to DC. I was like, this is, it started making me think about my life choices.
Yeah. I swear, there's no time you go on vacation.
No
I think, I'm
Honestly.
like, what today? Why didn't you take this decision?
Why are you not in IT tech?
Here?
Why are you not,
Why are
you
not
know?
a techie? Why are you not a tech
But it's
bro?
never too late.
It really isn't,
if you have the interest.
No, it really isn't, Lolo.
You just need to
there
have the
are lots
interest,
of people
and
who are
that's it,
getting into IT tech at
I know someone who
advanced
started at
ages.
40
Yes.
as well. Yeah, and he's doing so well.
Yes.
If you say so.
But I also think, again, you know, we said it last time, you said it too, Nigerians, we need to rest. Man, this hustle culture, and I understand the need. People are really struggling, so they don't get an opportunity to set aside the hustle. But when you find it, man, please rest.
No. We really should, because recently, I think among my immediate friends, I'm beginning to see that a lot of people are having burnouts. Even though they are hiding in plain sight, you see people's blood pressure is out of the roof. They are tired eyes, bags under their eyes. Some even have swollen parts of their bodies because they are just not resting.
And when you talk about resting, it's not just, you know, having 2 days off work in a week. Sometimes, no matter how much you rest, even if it's for a week, you're still not well rested.
Yes, and
So even the mind
hustle,
works.
The mind works. Remember recently we had some people come and do health checks at New Central right before I left. And I kept that piece of paper and I keep looking at it and I would monitor my blood pressure while I travel. And I realized that we are carrying so much. We're constantly thinking about so many things. Do I have lights at home? If I don't have lights at home, have I got fuel for the generator overnight? What's going to happen? Right now, we came back and our inverter is on the skids. I've been saying to my husband, guy, call this inverter. I did not come back to be dealing with electricity matters already. I already feel my anxiety and my blood pressure rising, just having to think about all the day-to-day things I need to sort in Nigeria, just to at least have some level of comfortability. And I also think another thing, and I tell her all the time, my home is my sanctuary. If you enter my house, you'll know that I've created my house to be a sanctuary. And I think that's one thing, even if it's a
color layout is quite very nice. It's
even if
American
it's just one
kind
room,
of layout.
even if it's just one place, own something that when you enter it, it gives you peace.
In fact, that's
Very
why I'm
important.
decorating. Sometimes you just need to change
Things around.
change things around and just make yourself feel, you know, a certain way. And now I'm knowing that, well, it's not like I'm knowing, it's always been with us that everything always rolls away. You know, most of the time when you are caught up in a moment and it's a very tough moment, it just feels like you're not going to get out of this moment. You're going to be here forever. It's not going to change, but it's never
that moment,
true. Every challenge, no matter how heavy the weight of the clouds, it's going to roll away at some point and you feel ease again. If everybody can just understand that and roll with it when challenges push at you so hard,
you won't have a lot to deal with, and that's true.
Oh, my sister.
It's difficult when people are trying to climb out of one hole
Another
after
is
the
coming
other,
on it.
and another thing is piling on. You're asking them to put aside what is almost human nature, which is to sort of focus on the worst aspect on the pessimistic things or the worst things that are happening to us. And it's really, it's a battle of the mind. What your mind controls, what your mind allows you to sit on and to focus on is what will end up also dictating your life.
Exactly.
You know, it's such a...
it's just that when people tell me, oh, no, what did it... Do you know how many things I juggle in my head part-time, especially holiday? I'm thinking for the children. I'm thinking for myself. I'm thinking for work. I'm thinking for opportunities. I'm thinking for what to do next. So many things. Aside other people's things that will filter in that you didn't even plan.
When Tolu was talking about, thinking of, how to juggle some things in the house, I was helping you think. I was thinking of, your daughter, Coco. I was thinking of your husband. I was thinking of, your mom, your dad, other family members, and even friends. And it's not also easy for single people as well, because you have so many things to deal with.
Even
so
now,
many things.
Young people, do you know that I look at my kids and you see a 20-year-old like Ara? She already has things she's worried about.
Of course.
And I would look at her and I would laugh. I would say, one, you're not paying rent. You are not paying school fees. The only thing, she wake up in the morning because she's doing serious. Oh, Mommy, I just wake up and I'm tired. I said, but do you know this is just for a little while? And you're only working 3 days a week. But this is the reality of adulting. You don't take breaks except it's your vacation. This is how you're going to live day in, day out.
Funny enough, Lolo, so many, young people do not even know how to handle it, because some of them get depressed and they end up committing suicide as well.
I think also it's up to parents to show that it is okay to not always have to hustle. It's okay to say, you know what, this point in time, I need to concentrate on this. This point in time, I need a vacation. Credit came to me. I have not slept. I'm trying, but the jet lag has a hold on me. I think I slept around 2 or 3 a.m., so I know I'm going to crash sometime in the afternoon. But Credit came to me and she's like, Mom, I'm not a child anymore. I'm putting away childish things. I'm a tween. I'm going to start a routine. I was like, Killing Shele.
So sorry,
if you don't do that, you don't have rent to pay. You're not worried about your education. You're not worried about light. Who puts food in the fridge? Do you know that there's a list I put on the fridge? You people will put everything you want, but somehow it miraculously shows up in the house.
She's the madam of the house. You cannot say anything. She's the madam of the house.
No. But it's so fun. I like watching them because Yorubas will say, Agbawaburari boya ewe oshiori.
Translate to English.
I will have to help you. That as adults, definitely you can actually literally swear and look at the young person and know that you have literally passed this stage before. And you can see through it. Anything that they think they're hiding or something.
We've been there, done that. And then, I left my parents, so my parents are...
I'm so proud of mom and dad. I look at Tolu, now that my own parents are gone, I actually vicariously love up on my friends' parents from afar. At least I'll feel happy that I still have, older people that I know we can talk about. How's dad? How's mom? It's so lovely.
They're good. I've never, so I already cooked, which I shout out to my sister for. Adetola, bless you for this vacation. I rested and I was fed.
Tolu was fed though.
My sister,
she's fed up.
Lolo, you think I can cook? My sister, man, we thought it's like in the DNA. My sister throws down. But anyway. So I was fed, I didn't do anything, but one day I was in the kitchen just washing up. If I'm not cooking, let me at least help to wash the dishes. I come out and I see my mom. My mom has her legs on the chair, just kicking her legs and scrolling her phone. And I called myself, I said, I can't remember the last time I saw her so relaxed. The last time was when they came to me after my sister passed. I was like, she was just relaxed. And I think so many of us are not always used to seeing our parents, particularly our mothers, relax. She was just relaxed. She doesn't have to do anything. All she does is breakfast for her husband, and the two of them go about their day. They were just watching Yoruba film up and down.
They also find it difficult. Why do they find it difficult to relax? Our parents and grandparents.
It's routine. It's how we're wired. It's nothing. See, they have a routine they've done for years. It's rote. It's just there.
Because my grandma, even at 80, before she passed, she was still cooking.
So, but I'll also say this, that they've also found that when people retire and they, work, life slows down for them in anything, at the end of the day, if they don't have something doing, sometimes it hastens their passing. So they have to keep active. They have to keep doing. My dad walks. He was working in Ogumasho. He hasn't started working yet, but he was working in Ogumasho so much that the man fell down. And they were calling me.
Fell down, where Joe?
Sis,
once they are old, I don't want to hear anything like your bullshit.
I'm pleading with my sister to just have patience because old people are stubborn.
Very stubborn.
Me and my father already fought before I left, and I told her, and I said, you're going to need patience in the next few months. She said she's not going to do anything. She's going to ignore. She sent me a voice note yesterday. My father said we're treating him like he's fragile, like he's going to break. If I say what's on my mind right now, I said, oh, wow. Oh my sister said, Mabuku Nimi.
But it's such a blessing to be able to bless them back.
It is. It is. Yes. I checked
we have checked.
We have checked. And so, while I was shouting out my sister, I also need to shout out my incredible team here at Jasiri. Thank you, ladies.
We held it
for
down.
Holding the fort, including Buki, Oloyede, as well as Catherine, and also to my amazing producers who allowed me to rest. This was, as in, they didn't stress me.
I was so
They did not stress me at
and
all.
And we didn't get one call back.
Who called?
We didn't get one. We wanted to just praise God on your behalf again.
That call, Abby.
So we didn't get any meetings. Nobody called us to their office for meetings. Like every other
I thought you were going to ask Tolu, where are the goodies? You know, this table was meant to be filled with goodies for us.
No, she got Tolu's going to bring a box.
They said I'm the one that should take us to break, so please.
Okay.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we get into some stories. I know stories that the ladies have been waiting to dig into. This is Jasiri. I'm back at the table, and we're back after this to give you our thoughts. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're still watching Jasiri. Remember, you can join the conversation on all our social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. So, a week ago, we did have a deep dive into Nigeria's changing food system and the rise of genetically modified organisms, popularly called GMOs. We talked about the pest-resistant beans, the drought-tolerant maize, and even unusually plum ginger, and how these new crops are quietly finding their ways from the farms to our markets and onto our plates. We even took the conversation to the streets, and at that time, one concern stood out as many Nigerians felt they were being kept in the dark. They questioned the transparency of the government and asked for the right of choice to be able to identify these GMO foods in the market. Well, there's now a new update. The federal government has said that it will begin labeling genetically modified crops. According to the Director of Food and Drug Service at the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Mr. John Atonda, the move is meant to guarantee transparency, ensure traceability, and rebuild public confidence in how GMOs are used in our food system. He explained further that the ministry will work with NAFDAC and the National Biotechnology Management Agency to enforce labeling, while also carrying out rigorous task of assessment, looking at, allergenicity, nutritional value, long-term health impact, and environmental safety. After that concluded with reassuring Nigerians that the government remains committed to public health. In his words, public health remains at the center of the government's priorities.
Well, also speaking at the workshop, Dr. Rose Gidado, a country director of OFAB, pointed out that GMOs have been in use globally for over 30 years across more than 45 countries. That's in her words. She says that if they were truly harmful, Nigeria would have long suffered food crisis by now. The government cannot give poison to its people. So if GMOs truly destroyed crops, Nigeria would have been wiped out by hunger by now. But beyond defending GMOs, Dr. Gidado also warned that unless Nigeria invests seriously in research and development, we risk remaining overly dependent on imported food. And on one hand, the government is promising clearer levels, tighter checks and stronger collaborations among agencies. Scientists are also insisting that the technology is safe and backed by decades of evidence. But on the other hand, and for many Nigerians, doubts still remain. Is labeling enough to build trust in a food system already stretched by rising prices, climate shocks, and insecurity? Should Nigeria throw its full weight behind biotech, or should we tread carefully, making sure that innovation never comes at the expense of public safety and food sovereignty? Well, let's get some reactions first.
With all the information out there, some people are still here thinking GMO will kill them, but they have been eating broiler, banana, and bell pepper for ages. This is a good step. Nigerians deserve to know what is in their food. Clear labeling and accountability will help build trust and protect public health. The Federal Ministry of Health should know better. Nigerians are not people that follow rules. You can start the regulations, but it won't be followed sooner than it starts. Yeah. The best you can do to save the majority of the citizens is to disallow GMO crops into the country. This is yet another example that shows you why your government does not value the lives of Nigerian citizens. They prioritize policies that protect money, trade, and corporate interests, not the health, safety, and well-being of the people. When it comes to insecurity, hospitals, education, roads, or the killings happening daily, the government looks away. But when it is about money, foreign contracts, or ventures that benefit only a few elites, they move with speed. This labeling of GM crops is not truly about safeguarding Nigerians. It is about safeguarding business so that money can be made and shared among themselves. At the end of the day, ordinary Nigerians will not see any real benefit. Until our leaders learn to value lives over money, this country will remain trapped in the same cycle of misplaced priorities. What does this really mean? How can they decide for millions without following due process? It's clear again, our government puts profits and politics over the lives and well-being of Nigerians. These things have long-term effects. Some of these effects can reflect on the genes. It shouldn't be a surprise when in a generation we begin to give birth to offsprings with certain defects or unnatural characteristics. It's a lot.
It's a lot for us to process. Even in a country where even normal things we're still grappling with, NAFDAC is still struggling to make sure that every item that we see, like a food item, is even being properly checked, labeled. Now we have not done that successfully. There's still so many products in the market that are not NAFDAC approved. That means it has not passed through their testing. Do they have the capacity to be able to add more to their plate? Because if we're looking at even testing the food that we buy in supermarket, all these packaged goods that everybody is a producer now, they are struggling with that. We'll now add GMO to it. So that means they need to expand a little more to be able to have capacity to do these things, because they need to label GMOs and everything. So everything should be labeled so that we can have a choice.
Lolo, how many Nigerians shop in the market? Shop in supermarkets?
No, a lot of them do.
A lot, but likely the majority shop in markets.
Open market.
In open markets.
Yes.
How do you label food in open markets?
That's $1 million question.
How do you label gari that came from a GMO cassava?
Yeah, that's
how do you label that? So I understand what they're doing, and one thing I always point out is if you look at the tweets or the reactions that we got, there is a big issue with trust in the federal government and its agencies, its parastatals, its MDAs, whatever you want to call it. We do not trust what they tell us. Yeah. And you know, in this situation, we had the the Director General of NAFDAC come out. Then she had to make clarification what she said about GMO, and then so people have been working very hard
tirelessly
to convince Nigerians, and Nigerians see that working hard, and it puts our antennas up.
Yes,
it puts our antennas up. And I see the reference that Dr. Rose Gidado made about the fact that GMOs have been used globally for over 30 years. And a lot of people, yes, they have. But a lot of people point to the fact that that 40 years or that 30 years you say, 30 years in 45 countries, is still not enough time for you to adequately test the effects of GMOs.
The last time we had a doctor in the house that we discussed about these things, you know that GMOs is different from hybrid crops.
Yes.
So we need to do clear distinctions. A lot of people do not know. Many people are talking about bell peppers. I still had bell peppers this weekend and it had seeds in it. So when you see a crop that is totally seedless, that is when you begin to question. Because if the product still has seeds in it, it's either it's just a hybrid plant that has been maybe mixed with another type of plant or something. But GMOs are totally They have to continuously buy seeds to be able to plant. So that means for you to be able to replant, you need to buy seeds every time, because the seed does not come in its
does not germinate on
it
its
doesn't
own.
come on its own.
I agree with Tolu when she said, you know, we have our antennas up because so many people, agriculturalists, you know, lecturers, even the NAFDAC DG, who had come out earlier to, you know, speak against GMOs, are now speaking for GMOs. So why are they trying to force it down our necks? Is it by force? And then, you know, you also talked about, Dr. Gidado talked about how, you know, it's been in use for over 30 years. The fact is that it's been in use for over 30 years in 45 different countries. It still doesn't mean that, you know, it is safe, because I've seen so many videos of so many people abroad who have actually complained about some of the GMO products. So why is it being forced down our necks?
I even hate that Africa is their guinea pig.
Yeah.
They come here to test everything. So whether it's good or bad, you see that, and you know, because we have our own system is very porous, where you are supposed to put adequate testing. Where are the research centers? So many things will come through the back door, and it will find its way into the country because, of course, our borders are porous, our immigration, sometimes things can slip, and before you know it, we have a crisis in our hands.
When I started reading about GMO crops and I started understanding that the seeds are proprietary, the seed technology is owned by the companies. And so when you plant on your field, if you decide that you want to plant a GMO crop, and if for some reason it flowers and the wind carries it, companies have been known to sue farms that did not want to take part in GMO because their flower, whatever, it landed somewhere in some. There's so much beyond just the fact that it's food and just the fact that it's food sovereignty. And I think that we really, Africans need to take a good look at this, and our governments need to listen. Listen to what the people are saying. There has not been adequate public debate on this issue of GMO. It's when we talked about it when the bill came about, I think sometime late last year. No, not late last year. Sometime mid or early last year. And that's when a lot of Nigerians realized that there's actually a bill already on the table to adequately allow GMO crops in. So we need to have a conversation with ourselves. If government says we're not educated enough about it, then educate us.
Exactly.
Then educate us about it. Let people see clearly that Nigeria is making this decision for itself. And one of the other things is there's a lot going on with agricultural things. I don't know if people even... Another thing I was reading now. So now, governments are selling water rights. So the water that's been free for rural areas and villages for years in parts of Africa is getting sold to corporations.
Can imagine.
That then bottle that water back and sell it back to them.
It's all about the money. The doctor we had earlier, you know, on the show talked about how we're eating pesticides. Insecticides, that is what we are ingesting. He said so.
Because he said if a crop is resistant to
insects,
particular insects,
if insects are running away from those crops
and everything, and we ingest it, he says, what do you think that would do to your system?
And Dr. Gidado talked about how, you know, we should accept GMOs rather than, you know, importing what do you call it?
Imported food,
products from abroad. But, you know, I also believe that the best way to tackle food insecurity in Nigeria is to tackle security, nip it in the bud, because most of these farmers do not even have access to their farms. They cannot farm, you know.
Have we talked about mechanized farming as a country? It seems that
we've been talking about it for years.
It seems that every leader that talks about farming thinks about cutlass and hoe. Are we hearing our leaders, whether it's senators, whether it's governors, whether it's House of Reps members, the people who make these decisions, who decide that they want to give to communities and they give cutlass and hoe? Are we listening to them talk about mechanized farming? Mechanized farming means that where you use 50 people before, you might need 5 people.
Exactly.
You need irrigation. You need modern.
And Nigeria has the land.
Nigeria has the land, and Nigeria has some of the best arable land.
I have traveled. Recently, I went to Oyo, and I had to travel by train. And I can tell you that we still have land to farm.
Exactly.
If people really put all these things they say, that's why I'm wondering that who are the government giving these things to? Who are collecting all the tractors? Who are collecting all the fertilizers? Because I still see farms that people are still using cutlass and hoe to farm. Individual, what we should be talking truly about mechanized farming. I passed through some countryside when I went to London. I passed a lot of countryside, and I saw mechanized farming in action. Honestly, one person is driving a truck and just, you know, irrigating the entire space. I mean, look, acres and acres of land.
Yeah.
And here in Nigeria, we're still talking about half of the people that bring all these tomatoes and things to the market. They're still farming it, cutlass and hoe, one person by one person.
I really don't know what the problem is. But even for Nigerians themselves, do they have a problem with, you know, upgrading?
So no, I will say no. Why? Because I was privy to some of the things that international partners do. One of the projects is Fadama. So there was Fadama 1, Fadama 2. Fadama gave away fertilizers, gave away tractors. There were cooperatives where they could, so one person can't own the tractor or whatever they implement. The community would own it. So there's a cooperative which would allow them to borrow the tractor, borrow whatever it was, and then they would harvest together and increase their harvests and then reduce their losses. But Nigerians have a way of sometimes just misbehaving, even on the things that are meant to benefit everybody. People are not paying money back. People are not returning what they were supposed to. People are not, because apparently maybe it came to them free, people were misusing it.
That's the thing.
So Nigerians are also the problem.
You see, it's so easy for us to force a new technology to people who have over the years been used to a particular set of thinking. That is why trainings are required. You can't come and tell me that farmers who have learned to do this thing on their own, even though they like the idea of a tractor and the idea of maybe a modern irrigation system, they just know it by maybe by sight, but the nitty-gritty of using it, that's where the challenge is. Look at all these SMEs now and all these microfinance banks. Now they no longer just give these women loans. They are teaching them financial management, they are teaching them savings, they are teaching them investment. Unlike before that, they'll just tell you, come and collect loan. There is no system, but now they create a system for them. So even some of them, even if they don't want to do anything, the system checkmates them. Those are the things we need to put in place if we want some of these things that they are laudable projects, great things that they want to do for the farmers and the agri sector. They need to train some of these farmers right. Every time they are churning out students from agricultural university studying agri, and you're wondering what they are learning. And there's space for them. There's room for them. There's need for them. 3 of our university students are managers of a farm.
But most of them are doing it to pass through the system.
Why are universities not farming?
Exactly. Most of the students are actually in that department to pass through the system and get their certificate.
Get a degree.
That's just it.
On that note, we take a break. The FG is to begin labeling GMO crops. Is that really what Nigerians want? We'll talk about it. Or we'll continue. I'm out of practice.
Don't worry, we'll ease you back in.
Ease me back in. Ease me back in. Ease me back in.
We'll be right back. We'll see how other things that we'll need to discuss. The next story coming up will probably make you do like this.
Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is making our hot topics once again, as she is set to mark her 65th birthday on the 21st of September. Now, you might expect a milestone like that to be marked with drums, dancing, and perhaps plenty of fanfare at the State House with another set of possibly unity fabrics or ashoke. But our dear First Lady has something else in mind. In a video shared by her special advisor on media, Busola Kukoyi, the First Lady speaks about choosing a quieter celebration, one dedicated to gratitude, reflection, and purpose. But beyond that, she also announced the provision of a special account for well-wishers and Nigerians who would want to celebrate with her to send forth their donations. Let's watch some of the video.
By the special grace of God, I will be turning 65 years old on the 21st September 2025. And this happens to be a Sunday. This is why I have decided to dedicate the day to God for all his blessings in my life and having a quiet birthday. I wish to appeal to those who would like to send a birthday card, cakes, flowers, greetings in the newspapers, or gifts. Should please send the funds to the designated account for a special project close to my heart, among many others. The completion of the National Library. This would be the best birthday present I could receive. My love for education has informed my decision to dedicate my birthday to this worthy cause.
Tolu's face.
I'm confused. The first Lady of Nigeria is celebrating her birthday, 65 years, and we pray that anybody who's watching makes it to 65 and beyond. Aging and aging well and aging hearty is a blessing. But you want Nigerians to donate to a special project near to your hearts, which is the completion of the National Library. About me calculate. Just help me work through it. Help me make it make sense.
You know, when I saw, before we got on air, I kept asking,
it's AI.
are you sure it's not AI generated, that we really verified the authenticity of this story? And you're wondering that, okay, and even a dedicated account was specially created for it, for the National Library.
Under the Ministry of Education, by the way.
See, this is what I say about Nigerian leaders. While she's not elected, and they said we don't have office of the First Lady, we understand the recognition and the place she holds, being tone deaf and not reading the room. The majority of your citizens are struggling to eat. Schools are about to be back in session. Some parents don't know how they're going to put their kids back into school, what they're going to be able to send their kids to school with. We saw the numbers from, I think it was UNICEF recently, it's confirmed about, is it around 12 million or more children that are out of school?
But I know parents that are not changing their children's school this term. At least I know 5.
People are being killed every day. I don't know if it's maybe the project I have an issue with. Maybe if she has said, do a savings to like a home for kids or for education or something.
So you wouldn't have had a problem with that?
So I'm trying to separate. Do I have an issue with the donation, or do I have an issue with the donation and where she wants us to donate to?
But you should also understand that, while she's the First Lady, she's also human. And this is her coming out to say, no, I'm going to be celebrating my birthday, I know, but then I want it to be quiet. Please, don't send me gifts. A lot of people actually do it, when in weddings, especially those who are traveling abroad. They'll tell you, do not give us gifts, just monetize it and everything. And she's not even asking from, Nigerians. She's asking from those, who intend to give.
So it's not like you say,
so it's not general. It's not generalized. Yes.
Then why is it out in open?
And no, it's for those that want
the broadcast was specially for her to, to give out the account number and make her intention. But I don't know.
The National Library
with the idea.
Do you see how I'm looking at you, Dashin?
The National Library, is it not under the purview of the federal government?
Yes.
So
she's trying to be transparent and accountable. This is the reason.
It's supposed to be a project that is supposed to be funded by the government. They should be allocation.
By high-end donors. That's what usually happens when they get presidential or when they do these national.
And this National Library, who is used? How much access do people have to it? Because there's so many times they keep saying that, they are building national libraries, and you're wondering that who is using it?
Please, before you get to the National Library, where are the libraries that used to be in communities?
Exactly, data
there
access
used to be
and
one
everything.
in
Nobody cares.
When I grew up,
maybe she has said she wants to revamp libraries and maybe across the nation. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to separate. Is it my issue that she's asking for donations? Not that she's asking, like you said,
like
let's those who were intending, let's make that distinction versus the fact that she's pointing it to a national. I'm still struggling.
Honestly,
none of it is making sense.
So she's trying to make us see the reason. Yes, she knows the donations, might be for her, but then she's putting it, she's channeling it through Nigeria.
She wants to buy more books.
She wants to revamp. She wants to do everything.
So that when
and she wants to encourage education and reading culture as well.
So that everybody from across Nigeria can travel all the way to Abuja to be able to read and do their projects and research in the library. Laudable.
Are you waiting for me to be convinced? Let's take reactions. I don't know if they're waiting for me to be convinced. Let's take some reactions to this. I'm not the only confused person. But why should such a vital national project depend on private donations? With all the budgets and funds this government controls, it is unacceptable that citizens are made to cover what the state has already collected money for. And my other question would be which national library is this? Do you know how long we've been developing national library? Is it the same one we were... That's the kind of leadership we need. Let's go back to that. That's the kind of leadership we need, turning personal celebrations into national impact. Let's hope the funds are well managed and the library sees real progress. This has never happened before in this country, that the wife of the president is stylishly asking the people to go fund her. You're asking Nigerians who are starving to send you birthday funds for a national library project. What happened to your salary as a first lady? She doesn't get. She's not supposed to get. Ask your husband to sell one of his properties in Lagos and fund your project. Listening to the president's wife soliciting for funds under whatever guise is deeply embarrassing, to put it mildly. I don't understand. Is Nigeria broke? Your husband just promised 100,000 USD dollars each to Super Falcons and the Tigresses. Why should Nigerians donate towards the National Library, even if they have the money? Whose responsibility is it, please? And I wouldn't be surprised, because it is a national project, if the National Library, because that's why I was asking which National Library. The National Library has been uncompleted for a number of years. But I also believe it's been a line item in the national budget for a number of years. So let's go back to Dashi's
should have allocation.
Whose idea was it? So that distinction that Dashi made is quite important, but in all honesty, I don't think many Nigerians care about that distinction, that she's only telling those who had intentions of celebrating with her, to, instead of doing this, donate. This. Everybody's coming at it. And I just think sometimes when there are people sit in rooms and throw these ideas back and forth, they need to find a way to maybe test some of these ideas.
I don't know who gives them.
They put a stamp of approval on it. And
just like the Unity fabric issue.
Not let that one go.
And now we're now soliciting for funds for the National Library.
Yeah, but it's not going into her personal account.
We know. We know a special account is there. Are you the one that will be the coordinator of this account? You are going to give accounts, just like everybody donated to Cora at that time. The assets for the people started asking for accountability. Are they going to say, okay, First Lady, please, can you show us who donates 5,000? Even Nigerians, the person that donates 500 naira will be as in.
Is my name going to be on one book? There was another point she actually made. She talked about those who intend on, putting her up in newspapers, and we know that to even buy a page in the newspaper, it runs into millions. So why not, channel that into improving and revamping the
They're not going to hear word. What do you mean? You don't want them, you don't want the First Lady, or you don't want the First Lady's people to see that they celebrated her.
It won't stop them, of course.
Front page.
But you know that his donations
they will not hear word on that.
It's going to be very hard.
Money is more important.
How would they know who did what?
No. It's the showing that we're here for you that is important. As
far as I'm concerned, she already knows her target audience and the people that will do this for her. And if she considers this a laudable project for her, that will leave a legacy. Every time you go into the National Library, if you have the privilege of being able to enter it, maybe you would indeed see the things that they say they donated. By the time you hear the X amount of money that was raised, and you're wondering, okay, where are the books bought? Where are the computers? I'm expecting that library to be the most digital library in the world. That when you go inside, all the books are digitized.
Oh, no.
People
are still keeping books, Lolo.
Okay.
It is well.
So how many books? Are you buying first edition of
that are now collector's items?
So what about those who want to donate books?
Well, you need to get into the First Ladies Committee so that you can say, I want to donate some of my old books.
That's even more important. Donating the books for the library is more important.
No, what would they now use the money to buy?
It's okay.
If you donate books, what would they use the money to buy?
It's okay.
Mind yourself.
We'll see what happens.
You have like a Ghana must go of books in your
my dad has a library at home.
Let's find a way to donate these books as well.
I don't think they want to read Virginia Henley and Sandra Brown.
You donate the books. What would they say they use the money to buy? Think.
Dashin, they said we have another story.
Okay, all right. So now let's go back to our, move to our next story, which is shaking tables in Lagos politics. Human rights lawyer Festus Ogun has sued Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for blocking him on Twitter, now X. Yep, you heard right. Now, according to Ogun, the governor blocked him in 2021 and his official handle Ajide Sanwo-Olu after he persistently criticized government policies and demanded accountability over the October 2020 #EndSARS massacre that was perpetrated under his watch. Now, the legal practitioner is now asking the court to compel Sanwo-Olu to unblock him and issue a public apology. Interestingly, he's not demanding any monetary compensation, you know, because he insists that the matter is not about damages, but about setting a legal precedent on digital rights, freedom of expression also, and also political accountability in Nigeria. Now, here's what he said, and I quote, "I feel haunted, traumatized, and emotionally disturbed by the knowledge that the governor of Lagos State, where I live and work as a legal practitioner, has targeted, singled me out and blocked me on X. Intolerance to criticism and accountability is unconstitutional and undemocratic. So this suit is not just about me. I have filed this lawsuit in furtherance of public interest and with the hope that it sets a precedent in our digital rights jurisprudence. Nigerian authorities continue to crack down on dissent, critics, journalists, bloggers, and vocal citizens on social media using arrests, detention, surveillance, collusion with big techs, and outrightly blocking as weapons. That narrative must stop, and we have a collective duty to invite the judiciary to put an end to it." Now, he also concludes with citing the landmark U.S. case Knight First Amendment Institute versus Trump, where the court ruled that President Trump violated the First Amendment when he blocked American citizens on Twitter for criticizing him. For Ogun, this is not, you know, a petty social media beef, and so many people seem to think that, by the way. And he told the court that being blocked constitutes a violation of his right to receive information without interference, subsumed under the right to freedom of expression. And this is actually very, very interesting, you know. But first of all, before we come to the table, let's hear what Nigerians are saying about this.
Mr. Felix said, majority of the commentaries here are making jest of you. Do you not believe them? On the second thought, why should you sue him for blocking you from his own handle and not the state's? I think you guys have made the law profession so unprofessional. That's from Mazi Uche Okeodo. How would you sue the governor for blocking you on X? Is that an official X for the state? You can also go and sue him if he refuses you entry to his daughter's wedding. The argument that Mr. Jide Sanwo-Olu's page is personal is laughable and debatable. The same page posts daily updates on the actions of the governor in furtherance of his role he was voted for. You do not have a case on your hands. Let's see how this goes. Well done, FO, lawyer for the bad boys. T-Baby says, suing governor of Lagos State for seeking court order to compel Jide Sanwo-Olu to unblock you is a waste of your time. You are suing the wrong party. Easy defense. The page is not office governor of the Lagos State page. It's not the official governor of the Lagos State page, so to say.
This one says, this is an important lawsuit. A governor's social media account, if used for official communication, is now a public forum. So the courts would have to interpret if blocking a citizen from expressing dissent is an infringement of constitutional rights, abuse of public power.
This is so. I'm one of those who personally believe. Me and my husband were arguing about this. That we need to test our laws.
Of course.
That it's in the testing that you refine. And this is really quite interesting. While he quotes the First Amendment in the U.S., we don't have the First Amendment per se. We don't have that same amendment in our laws. But I find it interesting because if that account has been used since the day the governor was inaugurated to pass out public information, does the account then not become public? Because I'm looking at the conversation around the Knight Institute of whatever it is versus Trump, and it said that because it was held out to the public as an official account for conducting official business, President Trump's Twitter account functioned as a public forum. So this eventually this case really didn't get settled because Biden was inaugurated, and then it would now have to be against Biden and all that. But it was just quite interesting because at the end of the day, they're saying that this is not his personal account.
So
as once he's inaugurated, it is an account of a public official who is accountable to the public. So are you entitled to block? And I also think it's interesting that many of our politicians don't like criticism. Festus Ogun knows the law, so I don't think maybe his tweets were necessarily defamatory. I don't think they were inciting. I don't think there would have been anything other than what he called them, criticism. But so many of our politicians don't like criticism. They don't know how to take it.
They don't know how to handle it.
Most beautiful
they don't know how
thing,
to handle it.
You know, the most beautiful thing about the law is the interpretation of it. And people don't know that when you bring landmark cases or novel cases, you are setting a precedent that others can follow. Nigerians see everything as like fun and jokes. I know he didn't just conceive in his ideas. There are many questions before the judge that can be brought about. If your private account is used as a public official, they need to determine, does that automatically make your page public? You know, there are so many nuances to it. And you know that digital laws, social media laws are still new. And a lot of things are just coming up. And the law has to deal with it as they see every case come before it. Because some of these things are totally novel. There are so many things we don't have in our laws. And when some of these things come out, new things are put into the law. There's some new interpretations, new adjustments, amendments that will be added. I'm very excited to see what the court will say.
And I don't think
Festus Ogun,
the things we've seen him involved in, someone to bring about
it's not petty.
Not necessarily petty. I'm trying to a light or fluffy, necessarily.
Do you know,
flighty
I am actually one of those Nigerians who felt, is this a joke? And hearing you guys actually talk about it, it's making it seem like
there's so many, honestly, because there are many people that use they're in public office and they use their own private pages to pass public information. Every time I go on Babajide Sanwo-Olu's page, Governor, I see him talking about the things he's doing, where he's been, the laws, anything relating to his activities within the state. So there are so many questions, underlying questions that can come out and let the law. Let's have a precedent on some of these things. Whether he wins it or not, he has something. The law might adjust some things, but there's something there.
Will the Lagos state government even take him seriously?
It's not about taking you seriously.
It's not about the Lagos state government.
If he's bringing it before
they need to take the
if
court
he finds it before a court and he starts before a judge, of course Lagos state will be called to Babajide Sanwo-Olu will be to defend.
But you know what? It also puts to question for many of us if you're holding a front-facing position, do you need to maintain a personal account versus a front-facing one? That's why what happens in the US is many times they hand over these public accounts. But for us, we tend to not hand over. So somebody would have been an official account of Governor so-and-so. The moment that he leaves office, that account stays with him, and then they just say, this is now the official. So the accounts don't even follow the position. They end up calling the people. And that's who we are as people. But it makes it think, do we need to concern ourselves with holding on to personal accounts versus professional accounts? Because the professional, and you remember that a lot of people will tell you that on their professional accounts that it's only tweets signed by them that are from them. The rest of it, the page is managed by their people.
But these are the things
it's the nuance. I find it fascinating. I won't lie.
You see, that's why I say law has many faces. You know, black has gradients. So before you get to a lighter shade, there are many. Why do you think that lawyers write in fine print? Is they know you would never read it. So the things that the terms and conditions you agree to are those tiny little ones that you don't read. It's to confuse you. So I am really looking forward to what the court will say about this, because there are so many things that can come out of it.
Are independent.
Then the other part is, when you look at this case, do you consider X to be a public forum? Is it a public? No, it's being debated. This is all parts of what the debate is.
That's the fun part. This social media life that we're in now.
So our social media accounts, our social media platforms to be considered public forums equal to a public square.
My dear, now we have even digital. Don't we News Central? We have a digital page. Even newspapers have digital pages. So I'm waiting to see what new precedent the law is going to be setting, especially when it concerns things about social media, the management of it, the handling of it. There are so many areas of law that we need to really, really critically set precedent so that people can be well guided. So, and I like the analogy that Tolu made. If Governor Sanwo-Olu leaves this, if he starts being the governor of Lagos State, is he going to leave that page and the next governor, the name will just be substituted and he goes to his own personal page?
And if he does that, that then proves that it is a public
looking at how interested both of you are, I fear that you're going to be heartbroken because I don't think they're going to take it as seriously.
I think
the expectations that you have.
Law can be tested.
I want to see. I think I'm more excited to see what if it gets to some sort of argument.
I want to see what the arguments are.
Cases, I would love to see what the arguments are.
Me too, because
I want to read law. Is Nigeria happened to me?
Even read I read it. Sometimes there are some cases that just make a lot of noise to you, and you really want to see what in a court case, may and might.
They're two different.
They are two different things. It can make and mar a case. So, in fact, I was on this boy's page game show. What's his name? Timi Agbaje. I and Chiga were on the show. He has a show called "What Does the Law Say?" So I felt like 6. I felt like 4 out of the questions, and it was matters of law.
Yeah.
And it was something that it required a lot of critical thinking. On the surface of it, there is no way you would have arrived at the conclusion. But by the time he brought out the law, I'm like, I would say, Timmy, give me the law on this. It's a penal code. See.
So let me give you 2 things before we leave. So now, in terms of this particular case that Festus Ogun referenced, it has spiraled. Not his case has spiraled. The conversations around it has spiraled up to this point. And in the U.S. Supreme Court, they granted something called Satori. Lola will tell us later. Anyway, they said that yes, in a unanimous holding in Linked, held that speech on personal accounts of public officials may be deemed state speech if it met 2 conditions. 1, the official must have actual authority to use the personal account to speak on behalf of the government on a particular matter. A governor has that. 2nd, the official must purport to exercise that authority in the relevant post. Now, of course, this is not Nigeria, but it's just to say that these are the conversations happening around the world. And it's just going to be fascinating.
It's going to be fascinating.
And then they might just strike it out and then we have nothing to watch.
Exactly. We'll actually wait to see. Well, it was actually a fun time with the Jasiri ladies. Thank you so much to everyone that actually watched as well. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, same station. It's bye for now. Bye.